Thanks, Count Corley. Taoiseach, you've made a number of big gambles in relation to the management of the COVID pandemic. The biggest, of course, was the decision to reopen at the end of November last year. And to put it very mildly, those gambles did not pay off. You're taking another big gamble now in relation to the Delta variant. We hope that that gamble pays off. We hope that we're able to achieve sufficient levels of full vaccination, in particular of the vulnerable groups, before the Delta variant becomes dominant here. But if the gamble doesn't pay off, and that's the gamble not to introduce mandatory hotel quarantine for those coming from England, Scotland and Wales, well then we're going to be in a crisis situation. There's going to be negative consequences in terms of people's health, in terms of long COVID. There's going to be extra unnecessary deaths, and we're going to be in a situation where not only might reopening currently scheduled in terms of indoor dining and pubs for the start of July have to be delayed, but we may be in a situation where things have to be reversed. Obviously, nobody wants us to be in that situation. But if we're in that situation, Taoiseach, will you take responsibility for the decision you have made now, and will you own up to it at that point in time? Because I think people will be very difficult to convince that we need to go for another lockdown to stop the Delta variant. But that's unfortunately the position we might be in 4 or 5 or 6 weeks if the Delta variant becomes dominant, because we haven't done what we could do right now to try and slow the spread.
Murphy, I don't take gambles on this, Deputy Murphy. You shouldn't personalise it to the degree that you seem intent on doing. We took advice to move to level 3 at the time in November, and we moved to level 3, and there was no modelling in terms of the third wave of the scale of what happened, or indeed in respect of the then Alpha variant, the B117. We're not taking any gamble in relation to the Delta variant. We've taken on board the public health advice in respect of the reopening of society. We were advised at the most recent meeting that there was low to medium risk in terms of the opening up of internal hospitality in early July and the travel on the 19th of July. We will keep this under review. So far, the last 7 days have been better than the previous 7 days, but we're still keeping it under review, and we're not taking anything for granted.
We need to move on now. I'm afraid we're out of time, so we need to go to question number 4.
Just on the maternity, again, I have spoken to the Chief Executive Officer of the HSE. The HSE runs its organisation. The CEO and the management team deal and work with the hospitals across the country in terms of the guidelines that have issued, the clinical guidance that is issued from the HSE, and that's the proper way for it to happen. And I will engage again with the HSE now in respect of comments that have been made in the House this morning.